Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's come to today's live stream. If you're watching this live today, Saturday, 19th of November, just a quick couple of notes. One, I put a live poll in the live chat, as you can see, and right now, the result, as it shows, it's about the question was whether you will be still privately watching the upcoming World Cup in Qatar on TV, while publicly, of course, criticizing Qatari government. About 84% so far have said no, I won't even be watching it. But about 16% have said, yeah, we'll still be watching because we like football. So definitely take part in the poll if you're watching this live. Now, this is quite interesting. Second point, by the way, before we continue, is today we have a lot of news updates for you guys from right now. As of right now, it's just 2:31 p.m. Every half an hour, we're going to come to you guys with a number of updates. But let's talk about Qatar, because when FIFA decided to award Qatar this privilege and honor to host the World Cup in 2022, this was years ago. There were a lot of questions that were raised. There were a lot of concerns. There were a lot of suitcases of cash, but people accepted it for a while. They said, "Fine, let's see if this could bring some civility into the Qatari establishment. Maybe this will help them become more westernized. Maybe this will help them become better and civilized." Yet it went completely the opposite way, because not only they are doubling down with the morality laws, but they're also completely messed up the project. They're the migrant workers who lost their lives and modern slavery issues. So those who say respect their their nation and their establishment and their culture, like that's not really the same thing, is it? Because one thing is the rule of law, and you can still criticize countries' rule of law, including here. We criticize our own rule of law in certain legislations, but that's one issue. The second thing, which is even more important, is how they conducted themselves during this project. Now, this video is about, I'm going to show you a clip of the boss of FIFA, the current boss. Of course, Sepp Blatter was in charge at the time when they awarded it to Qatar. Sepp Blatter is no longer in charge, as you guys know, all the scandals around him and his leadership. This is about the current boss of FIFA, who did a press conference in Qatar and decided to defend the Qatari establishment. And I'm also going to come to the live chat and get your reaction after watching this. But first, let's look at what this guy actually was ranting about.
Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay.
That's like half of Hollywood. Every time it's a Tuesday. Oh, today I feel gay. So he continues by criticizing the West, saying, pot kettle. You guys, the West should apologize to the past. This rhetoric narrative of the West should apologize for what happened. A couple of centuries ago, the empires and all that. They keep repeating it. First, Western governments have already done that. Like successive governments in the 20th century and 21st century, they keep apologizing. So we've done that already. They even paid money. That's over. What about everything else that Eastern establishments did centuries ago? Everybody did things. Everybody. We're talking about a time when nations either were empires or wanted to be empires. And look at the Middle Eastern Empire, the Muslim Empire, who went up to Morocco and Spain. And then of course, the Crusade happened and they had to kick them out of Europe. And they're still around. They all the stuff that happened in the name of those guys. Everything that the Greeks did, the Romans, the Persians, everything. So if we're going to apologize, we're going to spend the next year, everybody's apologizing to each other. He's completely condoning bad behavior. He, in the name of, well, we have to just respect the rule of law, he's completely forgot about the migrant workers. He pretended to be on their side as well. Today I'm also a migrant worker. Today I'm also disabled. Today I'm also this. I don't understand what the point was because it didn't really prove anything. We don't need him to do a kind of theatre thing and stand up and with a rainbow flag and all that. But accept the reality: FIFA and money goes hand in hand. Suitcase of cash and FIFA bosses, they go hand in hand. And and those few who had good intentions and thought naive, thinking, well, if we award this to Qatar, maybe within the next few years, within the next decade, they will actually become better and more civilized. By the way, when we say Qatar, we're talking about the Qatar establishment, of course. And those who just didn't want to, those who were under pressure of tyranny, a lot of them left Qatar anyway. But again, there is that consensus. State of politics and your politicians are a mirror held at the people themselves. We could say the same about us here. So the members of parliament, the UK parliament, whether you like it or not, if we, as the population, want to be better, we could. The masses, the collective, not just me and you, everybody else would stop voting Tory or Labour. But the consensus is the same thing, a cycle of doom, obviously. So let's have a look. Linda Ross said, "Hi Maya, hope you're well. Keep up the good work that you're doing." Thank you so much, Linda, with your blue heart emoji. And Maurice Jones says, "Woke crazy people today. I feel like Pelosi." I am not going to miss Pelosi. Let's have a look at this. Fanny Bunny says, "Why the West only they accept diversity, and not a diversity of traditions and beliefs?" That's the other thing. There's no level playing field. It's the same. What's happening with the whole Qatar and World Cup is the same thing that we've had with globalization as a concept. Those who thought that globalization means, well, we are going to basically spread our values and we're going to make everybody else Western, it kind of backfired, because what happened was that you basically just attracted the people from those places to come to the West. So the actual lands and nations that you were trying to help develop, they're still underdeveloped because everybody comes here. Nobody from the UK goes that way, or America or Canada. They don't go that way. Everybody comes this way. And Norton Kelly says, "We have problems with human rights here that people ignore. I'll concentrate on them." Well, it's yes and no, because there's a difference between concentrating on human rights issues in a democratic society where you still have people power. Whether you like it or not, we still have a say. Sometimes it doesn't work, but because we're not organized enough to create an actual movement or community, but you can. And it's easier to reform legislative problems in these countries compared to Qatar, compared to Iran. If they want to change the law in Iran, they have to get out there in the street. They have to defend themselves. We don't have that problem here. All you have to do is just find a good leader and a good party and just change everything else. So those who say, "Oh, the West is also basically tyrannical," it's not the same thing. It could get to that point. We can't be complacent. That's why I keep repeating every single day. Those who are defeated and say, "Oh, it's the same thing now, isn't it?" Yeah, I left my house. I got on public transport safely, and I got to work, and I got paid, and I paid the bills. But I feel I'm being oppressed. It's not the same thing. Actual oppression, those who haven't experienced it can't tell. They say, "Well, I'm pretty sure Britain is now like Iran." It's not. Stop doing that. Because if you repeat that narrative, you're undermining what could actually happen. We have to make sure we don't get to that point. We have to keep fighting for freedom, because they're fast-tracking digital identity stuff and digital passports and IDs and everything else. We have to fight them. Because if you just say, "Oh, it's already happened," then they're going to do it easily. This is the absolute crazy. John Smith. Football has gone political and a lot of virtual signaling. Leave politics out of sport. And those who say, that's a good point, John Smith. Those who say football was always political. No, it wasn't political. Football, and especially international competitions like the World Cup, there were a competitive nation-based tribal. That's different. There's a difference between nationism and politicization. It wasn't about politics. It was a national rivalry. And of course, every time there were football matches, like in 1998 World Cup in France, when Iran played against USA, there were a lot of discussions. Oh, Iran, America. But it wasn't politics. It was a different thing. But now John Smith is right. It's mostly about politics. It's mostly about money, obviously. Money was always in football, but over the last few decades made it much worse. Professional football has made it much worse by virtue signaling. as well. What do we have here? Graham says, never roll over no one. I'm so glad when Gareth Southgate leaves the England team. Yeah, don't get me started with Gareth Southgate. I've got a number of issues there, and it's not just that virtue signaling nonsense. He's just messing up the whole team. What are you doing, Gareth? Okay. Monty says, football started wars. I don't think there's any scientific evidence for this comment, but it's money that does it. It's money. It's corporatism that does it. That's the reality of this, the fear that we have. Yes, this is a good comment actually. Black Country says, football was for the working class. Look at football in the 50s. They had to have another job, but too much money now. Yeah, I'm not advocating for like going backwards in that sense, but there's no balance. There's absolutely no balance anymore. The money is completely taken over, too much of it, but it's also the personality aspects of it, the celebrity factor, which is completely destroying it. Okay, let's have a look at X-Staffer says, it's not coming home. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, really. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, so I'm not going to bother with the World Cup, but I'm definitely going to be, out of curiosity, watching the bits of the Iran-England game, which is a couple of days from now. I just want to see what the Iranian players are going to be doing, because in Iran, because of the uprising, collectively, the revolutionaries have said, we are going to be boycotting the World Cup. We are not going to be supporting the Iranian team at their own nation, because they say the Iranian football team are not representing the nation, but they are representing the Islamic occupation, the Islamic regime. So they've said, in fact, they'll be supporting England and the USA against Iran. So I want to watch it. I want to see if the Iranian players are going to be brave enough to do any symbolic move or anything to protest, using obviously all the international cameras. Millions of people will be watching. We'll see what happens. But it is what it is, I guess. James says, maybe they should have Carlsberg organising the World Cup. It would be the best in the world. Or Marks and Spencer's. We don't know. So let's have a look at a couple of comments before I let you guys go. Also, don't forget to participate in the live poll. I can't really see the result anymore, unfortunately, on my screen. But I will definitely check it out. Henry says Iran will beat us. My prediction is that I don't know, I have a feeling Iran-England is going to be a draw, which for Iran is a victory, basically. But if the Iranian players are under pressure from the Iranian people, then they won't have the motivation, I guess. So they're not going to be playing well. But obviously, I'll be supporting England. I'm not going to... Yeah, that's the question. Where do your loyalties lie, Maya? England or Iran? Well, I'm British. I'm not Iranian. So why would I support Iran in a match between England and Iran? My ethnicity is Persian, but I'm not Iranian by nationality anyway. So, and my loyalties are here with the bulldog, little bulldog. Where are you? There you go. Hello. So, hey, Tony says, but Brazil will more likely win the World Cup again in that heat. I think everyone's expecting a South American team out, but I'm not really sure about Argentina, but we'll see. There's still a bit of a mess. Anyway, stop about football. No more football. It's about the tyranny of not just the tyranny of Qatar. It's also the tyranny of FIFA, tyranny of corporatism that's destroying everything really in the world. Smaller nations, bigger nations are losing their freedoms, and they're losing. It's not like there was an initial fight that was about losing democracy and freedom, but nations are also losing their identity and self-determination. That is a bigger problem as well long term, because if you lose your identity and if you lose your unity, what are you? And how can you fight for freedom? If you want to fight for freedom, if you want to fight for democracy, you need to be collectively united. If you lose that, then there's nothing to fight for. Thank you so much, everybody. It is now, if you're watching live, 2:44 p.m. UK time. We're going to come to you guys 16 minutes from now. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back in 16 minutes, and we're going to tell you guys about all the big news updates. We're going to have a big show throughout the whole day, coming to you guys every half an hour. So definitely subscribe. Yeah, click on the notification bell. But even if that doesn't work sometimes, if you could, please manually come on the channel every now and then throughout the day to check out the latest updates. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you to everybody in the live chat. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm Maya TC, and we are the media.